toxic masculinity.
Social Justice for Toddlers, published by Washington Post.
Yeah, this is insane. This is insane. So let's go ahead and go to this. They report on this at the Fox News. I'll go ahead. This is the original article here. You can tell this guy is a social justice warrior just by looking at him. He's got all the hallmarks of the social justice warrior douche. Anyway, playing with kids, basically indoctrinating them into their insane ideas. There's some more of that crap. Anyway, so let's go ahead and have a look at Fox News' criticism, because I'd rather read that than the original story. Okay, they've written as a headline, Washington Post mocked for social justice for toddlers guide. This is propaganda. You think? Yeah, it's propaganda. Liberal paper suggested everything from flashcards to books that aim to dismantle bias among young children. Liberal paper being the Washington Post. Let's hear. Washington Post was lampooned this week, for publishing a social justice guide for toddlers that aims to push elements of Black Lives Matter and #MeToo movements into young children as young as 3 months old. Parents, do you want your 3-year-old to be a joyless social justice drone by the time he, she, they hits kindergarten? Would you like little Pat to be the puritanical scold of the playground, sucking the fun, life, and variety out of every grammar school interaction? Your pals at the Washington Post have a roundup of woke books and programs for toddlers, everything you need to ensure your child will never be burdened with excess popularity. Media Research Center magazine editor Matt Philbin wrote. Matt Philbin is a good writer. I was able to read that very cleanly. Any mistakes were my own fault for being a bit tired. But yeah, that was very cleanly written. That was a beautifully written paragraph. Let's see here. Yeah, here's the douche again, trying to play with kids. Yeah, look, put the thing on the top. Love gay people. All right, let's see here. Philbin eviscerated a post piece by Natalie Jesionka last week, headlined, Social Justice for Toddlers, these new books and programs start the conversation early. Jesionka wrote, experts say it's never too early, and a new wave of tools and resources can help start the conversation. But Philbin didn't agree with the notion. And what tools! ! Anti-racism flashcards, intersectionality books, a music class that develops understanding of gender and personhood. Wouldn't you like to tuck in the little one with a soothing read of Anti-Racist Baby or Woke Baby? ? Best of all, Jesionka says, a drag queen story time will soon be a televised show, Philbin wrote. And these, I would like to have read Philbin's thing, actually. I should have looked into this first. And those experts urging you to politicize your infant, ? Jesionka talks to a woman who sells a curated box of toys, books, and curricula that aims to dismantle bias for kids as young as 2 years old. Take that, genderless potato head, Philbin continued. She consults with others who say that children develop implicit bias as early as 3 months old and at 4 years are categorizing and developing stereotypes. Give me a flippin' break. Indeed, the Post article touted music classes, flashcards, and a variety of books that discuss intersectionality and broaden representation, along with short videos that teach parents and toddlers about anti-racism ideas. The feature also included feedback from a Canadian woman who founded a company that aims to stomp out bias amongst toddlers, a psychology professor who studies race and social interaction, and the owner of a children's bookstore that aligns with her mission of promoting Black women authors and women's activism and women artists. Well, I won't be going to her bookstore anytime soon. The Post also spoke with performance artists with the goal to increase exposure to drag support gender variant children, good Lord, and create an inclusive space where everyone feels welcome, except for conservatives, I imagine, and a variety of other experts on the subject. Teaching kids to be narcissists. Note how the assumption in this story is that is a self-evident good. Note how the assumption in this story is a self-evident good, teaching kids to be neo-racists. Sorry, I wrote narcissist. I said narcissists. It doesn't say narcissist.
Same
It says
thing.
neo. God,
Same thing.
I'm messed up. I told you guys that today was going to be bad. All right, let's see here. Not a single source suggesting that this critic good Lord. Not a single source suggesting this has critics. Journalist Andrew Sullivan wrote, not a one, this is propaganda. Andrew Sullivan, not as good of a writer as the other guy. That was much harder to read. Let's see. Author Jordan B. Peterson tweeted the article and joked, who's the wokest baby? Just who's the wokest little baby? Any others took to Twitter to mock the post? I love Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, hands down, one of my favorite people in the whole world. Love that guy. Let's see here. Carrie Kirby wrote, the left is not ready for this. The amount of kids that will be rebelling against their parents over this rubbish. Let's see. C. Esther. I don't know what that is. Who this guy is. But he wrote, how embarrassing. The Washington Post stole an entire story from the Babylon Bee. Because it's so silly. It almost seems like parody or satire. Let's see here. Boycott the Oppression Olympics. Let's see. Anti-SJW Human wrote, I just threw up in my mouth a little. An oldie but a goldie. It's a good one. It's always a good one. Clifford D. May wrote, note, too, that the writer propagates teaching children to champion social justice, but not a sentence defining social justice. Defining key terms used to be a basic rule of journalism. The Washington Post used to be zealous about maintaining the basic rules of journalism. Clifton D. May, well written. I read that very well.
Sorry, there's you misspelled brainwashing.
Oh, where's that one? Oh, yeah, down here, Walter at Long Beach Bum. He wrote, you misspelled brainwashing. It's perfect. I love those jokes. I love those you misspelled jokes. Those are quite good. Amy Otto 8 wrote, Jeff Bezos, at a certain point, you have to ask if this is good for the America that made you. That's a good point. A lot of these people, they just don't pay attention to the fact, they don't consider the fact they should be grateful that they live in America and that the values that allowed America to flourish are the values that are what allowed them to be the successes that they are. And now they're like anti-capitalist, pro-SJW nonsense. They're all for this progressive stuff. It's like, do you recognize that the country that allowed you to succeed believed in traditional values for generations, and now you're just throwing it all out? I mean, I guess they don't care if anybody else succeeds. They just like their own
I'm ready
success.
to exchange my Russian passport to their American passport. They can go to Russia, live there for a year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, any SJW who would like, Valeria is willing to give you her Russian passport in exchange for your American passport. So just putting that out there. Exchange citizenship. Although she'll have her own American passport soon enough. All right. Should we, we have one more story. You want to read the last story, darling?
Yeah, pollution causing penises to shrink.
She didn't really like to say that out loud. It didn't sound like.
I don't like saying words like this.
All right, so apparently, now I didn't get to read this
Unpowered.
article, but I thought it sounded funny, so I left it in. Toxic Masculinity, weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.